wish we could get her to, oh, no, that's actually nice. Good work, Rory. One thing you're going to notice about cats that's kind of great is how many great rounded, oh, she's now in the camera, Ian. How many great rounded shapes she has. And triangles. So when you look at a cat, you could actually look at how many different shapes they have. So I'm actually going to try a really quick gesture drawing of Rory. And she's super interested in my pencil because Rory is, what, 2? Is that right?
About, yeah.
Yeah. She is super playful. And if you are trying to draw like something for serious, it is really hard with her. So all I'm doing, and you can do this at home if you have a pet, or you can try this with your imagination too, is I'm just trying to get an idea of the shapes of Rory. And right now she's at such a funny angle. Oh, now you're looking at me. It's very nice. Can you look up? Okay, so she's got these awesome haunches. She's got great ears. So on a cat, you're gonna see round face, pointy ears, and a really rounded body. Okay, that may be awesome. Well, we'll see. She'll sit here. I'm actually gonna try her from behind. Oh, she's putting things. she's knocking things off the table because she's a cat. My goodness, you're so funny. Thanks, Ian. So you can see, I'll show you some of these gesture drawings. I'm trying to get a sense of, ooh, that's a nice pose, of her movement. And I'm not really caring about what my results are. I'm really looking at how ask a cat to pose. It's really now she's playing with them. Oh goodness. You're so good, Rory. Ooh, this is a good pose too. So all I'm doing is really just getting some ideas of what she looks like. I'm looking at her shapes. I'm also looking at how she moves. And one of the lovely things about cats, and one of the things we love about them, is how lovely their form is, right? They have this really lovely rounded head. They have huge eyes for their face. If you actually look at the size of their eyes versus the size of our eyes, you'll notice they have really large eyes and excellent vision. So it's okay if she doesn't stay in the frame now. I'm going to show off some of the gesture drawings. So again, the idea is just for you to get warmed up and for you to look at shapes and movement. Can you see those okay, or should I? They're okay. I'll go over them in marker just so you can see like some of my very brief gesture drawings. Again, I'm not really caring about my results. I really am just looking at her shape and how she moves and kind of like, how does her tail look? How does her haunches, like how do these things look? This is actually kind of a really fun thing to do at home. You could follow your pet around a little bit and try gesture drawings of them. So that's really quick, but you can just see these are just gesture drawings, right? So they are just movement and shape, and at one point her tail was doing some great things. So this is to get me warmed up. It's also to get me thinking about what a cat looks like. We're gonna do a little dog stuff too. So so here's a few gesture drawings of Rory, so you can just see those. So I thought before we get into really like drawing maybe more from a photograph, I'm going to move on and show you just a couple works by students, and we're going to talk about dogs and cats a little bit, and then we're going to try some more serious drawings, but we're also going to use our imaginations, which I'm excited about, and I might ask you guys for ideas too. So let me show you, put aside the gesture drawings, and I'm going to show you a couple works, and Ian, you might have to kind of tell me how to hold this or hold this. Can you get any of those in the frame? Cool. So these are works by youth artists. One is a cat and one is a dog. They're totally different mediums. And I can take this back. Thanks, Ian. And they're by, I should tell you who they're by. So the dog that is an embroidered dog is by Cheyenne Holmes, and she is from Carabec High School in North Anson. And then the cat photo, which is also a tuxedo like Rory, is by Lily Roy, and she is from Waterville Senior High School. So we found in Youth Art Month that there's actually a ton of cats and dogs, and I think that really is because not only do we just love them, but they inspire art, right? So I'm gonna hand you this so you can actually look and see if there's questions for me. And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about sort of general cat and dog outlines, and then we'll get into some more serious drawing. So first thing to know about cats and dogs is also you may have a different pet at home. You're also welcome to tell me which kind of pet, but I'm going to really focus on cats and dogs. So first thing to know is that dogs have been the longest domesticated animal, at least as far as we know. And when you look back at history, you can see some people think dogs might have been domesticated even as long as 36,000 years ago. And just to compare that, most other animals were around 10,000 years ago. Cats maybe 12,000 years ago. So dogs are, evolved and have changed much from the gray wolf, but that's their wild ancestor. And then cats' wild ancestor are African wild cats. And they believe, for a long time, they thought cats, it was only about 10,000. And then they found a cat skeleton in someone's grave. And they realized they had put that cat there because it was part of the household. That was part of that person's world, was the cat. And that was in a grave from 7,500 BC. So a long time ago. So cats and dogs are some of our favorite subjects. So let's actually look at drawing a few of them. So I'm going to really work from a photograph of Rory. As you could see, doing a gesture of her is easy, but challenging. She's going to move around. So what we're going to do is actually going to work from some photographs. So I have two photographs here, and Ian, you can kind of tell me where to put those just so that they can see. So these are two photographs of Rory, and I'm going to really work from these photographs for my drawings. And they're nice because one photograph is really more her face, and the other photograph is really her whole body, and you can kind of see her whole body. It's too bad we don't have her tail much in either photo, but that's okay because I love cat tails. So let's start on a little bit more serious drawing. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you use your imagination. So I'm going to start with this picture of Rory that's more of her head. And so you guys, I will actually show you kind of step by step. And I'm going to use our clipboard because I think that'll help you to see. So I'm going to start really with just a circle for a head, and I'm going to start with two triangle ears. You're going to notice another thing about cats is their ears are really large compared to their head. Like these are almost too small what I'm drawing. Should I use the marker? Okay. I'm going to use the marker so you can just kind of see. I'm using a round and two triangles, so pretty simple so far. And then I'm also going to use kind of a round.
Jess Graham is asking, do you draw animals a lot, Serena?
Do I draw animals a lot? I draw animals all the time. It's actually my favorite thing to draw. I will say I probably haven't drawn cats as much as dogs, perhaps. In my life, but I've drawn both, and I think cats are, at least for me, a little bit simpler to draw. You'll notice that dogs have more diverse body shapes and sizes and looks than cats, and that really has to do with their genetics. But I love drawing animals. So when we look at a cat, and this is just really just circle, triangle, and kind of a squished, like half circle kind of. And then I also see that her little paws are kind of like in front of her, and they're kind of like two ovals. So you could start with something that simple. If you're doing a dog, you have a very similar shape, but you want to make kind of a longer snout, right? I'm gonna give you guys a couple doggy kind of shapes. So with your dog, depending on what kind of dog you have, your dog may have a longer snout. Again, amazing sense of smell. So let me stick with Rory for a minute. So Rory has pretty large eyes for her head. So I'm gonna try putting in some eyes, and you guys can try some eyes too. So one thing you're gonna notice about cat eyes is that cats have eyes that are slightly tilted at an angle, and they're flatter on top but rounder on the bottom, and then they have a very different pupil than ours. So their pupil works differently than ours. They also have a different reflective part on their retina, and ours are round, but theirs are like these kind of beautiful, I don't know, how'd you describe that? Like an ovalish shape. So I'm gonna start with some eyes. Now, I'm working in marker so you can see it. I think if I was doing pencil, I would probably sketch them pretty lightly and then play around with their placement a little bit. And then I'm also gonna add a nose. And a cat's nose is basically a triangle upside down. Now, coming down from that triangle is a mouth. And it really is just a line down and then line across. Okay, and I'm also going to give her kind of some rounded, I guess you would call this, that's not quite cheeks, this piece right below the nose. It's kind of like her, it's not really a jowl, but this piece here. And then I also think Rory really has a smaller chin than this. So I'm going to correct my lines a little bit. If you had pencil, you could correct your lines in whatever way you want. I'm hoping you guys actually show me some of your creations, by the way. So I'm already starting to see a more Rory-like shape. Now I am missing something very important on her face, which are her whiskers. So most of you probably know about whiskers, but whiskers are really amazing because what they do is they can collect scent on their whiskers, right? That way they can pick up scent better. Also, whiskers help them with confined spaces, figuring out where they are in the space. What's really cool about cats, and actually I don't know if Rory's nearby, but cats also have whiskers, which is really cool. They actually have a whisker on their arm. So, and Rory, because she's a black and white cat, you can see that on her. You can actually see on her black legs, she has this little white piece. I am going to start giving her a couple other things. So Rory, because of the pattern that she has some black and white markings that I want to figure out where they are. So she has kind of this white blaze on her chest. She also has these awesome kind of white paws. I'm gonna get these paws better in a minute. So I'm already starting to see a bit more of what Rory really looks like. Okay, I'm just gonna fix this a little bit, and then you guys can work on your drawing a little bit. And I'm gonna go over a dog drawing in a minute. So I'm gonna add in some paws. This is a little hard with marker, I have to say. Oh, there she is. We can maybe show off. Hey Rory, do you want to show off your whiskers on your arms? So Rory has We'll see if, oh, you've got the, Ian has the treats. Very important. Come here, Rory. Over here. Come here. She's like, I've had a lot of treats, Serena. I'll see if she actually is one of those cats that you can just pick up and cuddle, and she doesn't really mind. So let's see if you can see. So on her legs, she may not want to do this. On her legs, she has a couple whisker hairs, and with her, they're white and they stick out. So on your cat, they might be white, but they might blend in and be a different color. And I find some cats you can see those whisker hairs, and some cats it's a little harder to see. But on Rory, it's actually pretty obvious. Can you see her in the frame? Okay, or no? That's okay if you can't. But she's gonna hang out here while we draw. So she's actually a good subject because she is such an interactive cat and likes to be around people. She's really loving us being home. Okay, so if I have a picture of Rory, and we're gonna pretend that I've finished her a little bit more. Right now, working with marker is a little tough. What I should have done is maybe had another drawing. But now, once I have my cat, now what I'm going to do is use my imagination a little bit. So here's where I might ask a question of the audience and see if I can get an answer. So if we were going to make Rory into something, like say a superhero, or say if she had a job. So here's what I want to ask you is, what do you think we could add to the picture of Rory that might be fun? Like, what could we add a backdrop of where she is? Say she's in space, or she has wings, or something like that. And I want to see if anyone would tell me something to draw online. So Ian, you might have to watch the Facebook live. So this is where I want you to use your imagination. Where could you put your pet? And she's seeing somebody outside. She's a really great hunter, by the way. So if there's anything in this house at all, she will find it. She's an indoor kitty. So where should we put Rory? Should we put her into space? Should we put her with what kind of backdrop should we put on Rory? Or what could we add to her? So do we have any suggestions yet? No? Okay, that's all right. I'll use my own imagination. Okay, so I think what I was thinking about for Rory is wings. So, and if I get any other suggestions, I'll add them. So I'm going to give Rory some wings. So this is where you get to use your imagination. And I'm going to give her some awesome wings. And then I'm also going to...
Okay. You could add a top hat and
put
her at a fancy party.
Okay, yes, let's add a top hat for Rory. Okay. I'm going to add a top hat to Rory. This actually looks kind of not like a top hat yet, but it's all right. I'm actually going to make it so that it looks like it's kind of on her head. Okay. This looks like a headband. Oh my goodness. All right. So, I wish I was working in pencil. It's okay. That's, part of art. So we're going to give her a hat. We're going to give her wings. We can actually kind of give her some more detail on her wings. And we might actually put her on top of a little cloud in the sky, since she has wings and a top hat. We might also let's add some space. So we're going to add some stars in the clouds. So I guess it's going to be nighttime up amongst the clouds where Rory is. So you guys can make any backdrop you really want, but I'm going to start working on this a little bit to fill it in. And at this point, if you wanted to make your backdrop colored, you could also use some of your colors, right? So I might add...
I also had Add a cape and a cityscape.
Ooh, a cityscape. I'm going to put a cityscape down below. So one of the things I always tell people is to not constantly judge your art as you're making it, and I'm realizing I'm kind of doing that right now because I can't erase and I can't like go back, but that's okay. It's kind of fun actually. So I'm starting to make a city down below Rory. Rory's watching this whole thing, by the way. She's very amused by this. So I might actually color in a few bits, and then I might also try a dog drawing for you guys to check out. So let's try this. Let's actually give Rory, so Rory has yellow eyes. So we're gonna color her in a little bit. And Rory has dark black pupils. And I'm gonna fix this little nose a little bit. And Rory really has a dark nose. I'm actually gonna color it in a little bit with pencil, just so you can still see the nose. And then she's mostly all black, so it's a little hard to maybe get detail on her. I perhaps could put in some detail, maybe with this is where actually colored pencil might work. And one of the things is when you're adding in detail of your pets, you can add in detail and make all the hair marks, and you can think about which way the hair goes. So around Rory's face, one of the things I notice is all of her hair pretty much spreads out from the middle of her face. So she's got hairs that come this way and go this way. So I would like to make my pencil marks kind of like that. I would want to actually fill in her hair that way.
We had a question. What animal is your favorite to draw?
Oh, what animal is my favorite to draw? So it's probably frogs. Probably frogs. Frogs are one of my favorite animals, and one of my plans, I will tell you, is to, once the frogs are out, to bring a frog in the house and draw it with you guys. I'm hoping that we get frogs soon, but we'll see. I love drawing frogs, and I find frogs really fun to draw because they have such interesting skin and colors, and then they have feet that are really cool. Some are webbed and some have little pads on their toes. So I'm gonna hold this up. You can sort of see I was starting to add a little detail with the pencil. I realize it's hard to see a bit with the pencil, but if you were gonna put some hair on your cat, I just wanted to give you an example of how the hair actually goes on the face. You can look at that on your own cat or dog at home. You'll notice that they have very, very fine hairs on their nose, and then pretty fine hairs on their face, but they get bigger, and then they have longer fur on their body. So you can check that out. Now, okay, so let's see. I think I'm gonna add just a little color, because I feel like if we are being playful with our art, which I would like us to be, I'm just gonna add some colors, and you guys can add colors to your backdrop. So here's, right, this is probably not totally complete yet, but you get an idea of when you're using hair and making fur, how you can actually make it flow the way that it flows on their body. It gives it a little bit more, even though we're doing something fanciful, it's a little bit more real. So now let's try out a dog drawing. Some of you have a dog at home, and we have a dog, but he is probably not going to pose for us. He is a 13-pound mini poodle, and he is awesome. But I started actually a drawing of my mom's dog. And so this is Clara Dog. And Clara Dog has a very long snout. So I'm gonna actually go over this in marker. So if you're doing a dog, you're again doing very similar shapes. The round of the head, the sort of pointy ears. Some of your dogs are not going to have pointy ears. And then you also are going to have to include a snout. Some of you might have a dog without a big snout, but I'm going to show you just, oh geez. I think I mentioned this last week. It is super hard to draw and talk. It is different parts of your brain. Okay, so this is Clara dog, sort of. Clara is my mom's dog, and mostly doing her because she has a smooth coat. And our dog here at home, his name is Guillermo, has a fuzzy, furry coat. Just a little harder to actually make work. Woo! I should probably not talk while I draw because it starts to be crazy. Mom's gonna be like, that doesn't look like Clara. That's all right. Clara is a rather handsome dog, in my opinion. So I'm just starting her, right? She looks a little bit goofy right now, but you can see round. This is more of almost a rectangle. It's interesting depending on the dog. You might actually have a more square head. So if you have like a pit bull or a terrier or something like that, they might have more square shapes. And again, with a dog, you're going to do the similar thing to the cat where you're making shapes, but your shapes are going to be slightly different. You got a round head, a long nose, and pointy ears. Some of you might have dogs that have pointy ears that go up. Some might have floppy ears, some might have long ears. So this is Clara. Clara's like, kind of looks like a shepherd. And actually, in a minute, I could show you a picture of her. So if you are doing a dog, just a couple tips on dogs versus cats is that dogs have smaller eyes in their head. Their feature that's the most prominent, of course, is their nose. So most of you probably know this, but a dog's sense of smell is way better than ours. It's about, we think, 500 times our sense of smell. And they have, it's such an incredible sense of smell. I always wonder what their world is like. Okay, so Clara's looking funny. That's okay. Clara dog. Her name is officially Clara Bow, after the film actress. So here's Clara dog. So why don't we put Clara dog with a castle? Again, this is yours to create. Think about what kind of backdrop you want to have. Think about all the kinds of things that your animal can have. So Clara is a dog that has kind of blonde-ish kind of fur and hair. Well, we have cat treats all over the counter. So I'm going to color her in a little bit. And I'm going to encourage you guys to keep drawing your pets and drawing backgrounds. And then I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about your cats and dogs at home. If you have a different kind of animal, we can always talk about those animals too. I'm going to tell you a couple facts about your cats and dogs and show you some pictures. So you guys can keep drawing while I do this. So what I'd love is for you to share some of your drawings of your pets, and it is a great time, again, to hang up some of your drawings. So in the back here, I still have the cow drawing from next week. I'm actually going to do another drawing of Rory with some of your suggestions, and then I'm going to put it on the wall. And then I think every week, if you could actually add to your wall, and at the end, we'll kind of have this great record of some of the things we created together. I would love to see photos of some of the work you guys do. And I know you're probably still working on some of your cats and dogs, which is fine. So you should totally do that. But I want to also let you know next week what we're going to be up to. So up for next week. So we're going to have we're going to expand our videos a little bit. We're going to do Tuesdays also. Tuesdays is going to be more of an all ages thing. So more like, we're calling it Art Club for All, and I would love to invite adults both times, but I'm going to be a little bit more advanced on Tuesdays. So Tuesdays at 3. The next thing we're going to do is Still Life in Our Kitchen. Ian, would you get me that water that's over there? Sorry. And then, thanks, honey. And then it's good to have an assistant doing this. Thank you. And then on Thursday, next Thursday, we'll be doing plein air, which actually just really means outside, being in the open air. It's like being in our backyard. So what I think we'll do is I will actually try a video from the backyard, but I'm going to also have pictures of landscapes. So we're really going to do a landscape next Thursday. And I'm going to focus a bit more on trees specifically. So we'll learn how to how to draw a tree. It's always good when you have art to have tea, and I forgot my tea this time. So that's next week. You can tune in. Also, for both of these, really just having a pencil and paper is fine. For the plein air, I am going to maybe use a little watercolor, but you could also use colored pencil or markers. I will really first be drawing with the plein air and then maybe add some color. So we also wanted to remind you that tomorrow at 1 o'clock we'll be doing a Facebook Live with a guest artist. So looks like right now what we're going to do is Tuesday and Thursday at 3 we'll have instruction and also getting to see how to do a certain art thing. And then Fridays we're going to have guest artists. So this Friday, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, you can tune in, and Tamsin Brooke Warner, will be throwing clay. And it's more just for you to watch how something works. It's not going to really be instructions because most of us won't. I don't have a pottery wheel in my house, and I'm pretty sure you probably don't either. But it's a way for you to see how pottery and clay is put together. So I hope this was fun. I feel like I forgot a couple things, but please do post some of what you made today, and try out gesture drawing. Again, when you make gesture drawing, it's really just looking at movement and being playful and just trying out, seeing what you can see about the animal in front of you, how they move, how their bones work, how their head goes, how big their ears are compared to their head. So just try out some gesture drawing too, because gesture drawing can be really fun. And you can do gesture drawing anytime. It's fast. It helps your hands warm up, and it also helps you see what's in front of you pretty well. Again, so there's our finished Rory, pretty finished. I'm gonna probably, after the video's done, I'm gonna probably go back in and really put in more detail and maybe color in. And then I will see you on Tuesday, and by Tuesday I'll have hung up this work in the back. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon.